I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence to let them in, chalk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, I to stay on the go. I can play with the pros and act like a rookie so they overlook me. Then I double up again, none of their knows, none of them cold. They just got lucky but never adapted, so I'm to the one if it's coming to blows. My enemies cutting it close, I let them think that they got me, but what do you know? I had them beat before we ever spoke, I'm ready for smoke. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything.
Um, everybody's had seen the Karen videos. So everybody's seen it. This shit's just fucking hilarious, but it's getting bad. But they're just doing it. It's just not doing it to black people. It's not doing it to black people. These people are just crazy. They have to have some kind of mental health problem, I think, because over the weekend,
I mean,
I
what is
see
a Karen by definition? I mean, what is a Karen?
Karen is the white lady that always, I want to speak to the man
Man.
that always causes a problem over nothing. But more importantly, like, is calling the police in the manner of saying, you're going to get in trouble because I'm Karen. I'm a white woman and they are going to do what we tell them to do. That type of bull, that
Mm,
entitlement type of bullshit. You know what I mean?
right.
So, so
Are you saying the ones the what's the one lady that made the call at the cookout? Remember that?
Barbecue
I can't remember.
Becky and shit.
What's that?
Barbecue Becky.
Barbecue Becky. Yeah, that was like what 2 years ago.
Yeah. But
Calling the police on the people at the cookout.
But there was one over the weekend, bro, where dude was outside and then he had like a gated around his house and he had like a little brick step wall in front of that gate. You know what I mean? So the
Right.
house was sitting on top of some ground. And he had a stencil out there and he just stenciled Black Lives Matter, right?
Hmm.
And she came by and said, "What are you doing? You can't put that there. That's public, or that's private property." And he was like, he never told her though. He never said this is my house. He just messed with her and said, "Okay, I'm just putting it up here. Why does it bother you?" And she was like, "Well, I know the people that live there." And he's just like, "Yeah, okay. You know the people?" She's like, "I know them personally." And he's like, "Yeah, okay. Well, have them come out and tell me not to do it." She's like, "No, I'm calling the police." So he's like, "Call the police." And then he doesn't even tell you it at the video. He's just like, "This is gonna be hilarious when they come," shit like that. And he cuts the video off, and in the description, it tells what happened, that the police came and they just shook their head and left.
Right. Yeah. So he was writing it. So where was he putting this at?
Like on a brick, like how you have a house that's sit back off the street and they maybe have a gate around it, but it's up off the ground. It's higher than the sidewalk,
Right.
but it's level ground. So they have a little like step brick wall in front of that,
Right.
like when you walk up your stairs. He was stenciling in it down there on the brick wall in front of his house.
Oh.
So, yeah. So it just shows you to the length that, like, haven't they seen Facebook? Karens, have you not seen freaking Facebook where people are clowning you guys, and they're starting to make, like in New York, they made that law about the one that did it. They signed that in, that if you call the police about doing some shit like this, you're getting charged. There's
Right.
no more. Oh, it's okay, Karen. No, you're getting charged.
Yeah. No, you're wasting people's time with calls like that. I mean, you're straight up just wasting people's time, especially with what's going on now. I mean, you're trying to drag us out here to do whatever it is you think needs done.
Yeah,
And I mean,
and that's an issue. And that's an issue right there. And I think that kind of like segues right into just giving a quick update on the police reform thing, not defunding, but reforming. I think that goes into that matter where the police shouldn't be called for none of that stuff, right? They shouldn't be called for you arguing with your neighbor unless there's something there valuable. We should have resources. Obviously, there's a lot of people. We talked about this where a lot of people with mental health problems, we see it on the news, they interact with the police and the police don't have the training for it. We need to make a call to somebody, like we said, that just came up in Penn State. Remember that thing we talked about 2 years? Just this week, they brought up something about that issue, saying that the police should have never been called. A mental health specialist should have been called. They should have been escorted because, I worked in crisis. If you call crisis, and you're having a bad day, mental health problem breakdown, you think you're going to hurt yourself, they have a number. You call them. They send somebody out to talk to you, right? But there's a police officer there. So that person doesn't get hurt.
Right.
But the police don't say nothing. They don't say nothing to you. They just make sure that that person's safe.
Safe, right? Just for the safety, yeah. That's a very good point you bring up. But I still think I would throw that under the umbrella of defund the police, where you're taking money away from the police and instead putting that money into other programs, like less police officers and more social workers that deal with those kind of things. Because, like I said, they were talking about a lot of cases of where there's an argument amongst a couple, and then 7 cop cars show up. Why? It's redundant. Melvin Wall, my man, my only #1 fan from the Big Sarge Show chat the other day. How's it going? Hey, he says, how many Karens were on the jury in the Zimmerman case? I am not familiar with the Zimmerman case. Coach?
It was probably half of them were Karens.
Half of them were Karens?
Yeah, that's what we need to do. Let's get him out. He did a good job. Yeah. No, when I say defund, you're actually not. When you say defund something, you mean that explanation. That's such a broad stroke that we're not saying that it's something. We're not taking funds and put them from somewhere. It's just that narrative of them saying defund. It gives it a negative connotation. You know what I mean? When you see it, they're trying to take, and they're running with that, and that's not true. We're saying that the police shouldn't have all the stresses of going, like you said, to an argument with a husband and wife.
And they're not prepared. They're not trained to deal with that. There's people that deal in social work that are prepared to deal with those situations.
Yes. And they just hop out and be like, their training tells them, hey, if one of these motherfuckers say anything, choke them out.
Choke them out. What'd he say? Get him. Tackle him.
Tase him.
Tase him. Take her down. We missed it, bro. That used to be our saying all the time. Tase him.
Tase him.
Tase him.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things, bro.
Right, I agree that defund adds a negative connotation, but at the end of the day, I think that's what you're doing. You're taking money away from the police and you're putting it more into programs that not benefit, but that are more intuitive, I guess, with actual situations that go on. Because I've been watching a lot of stuff on this where they're talking about get police officers and put them in positions where they are trained on what they're to do, put social workers in the other positions, right?
Right.
And let that be what it is. I mean, that we don't need a guy, and like you said, you've always said this, get people in the neighborhood to do the policing if you can. Get people who are familiar with that community to do it. Because, and also too, patrols, instead of patrolling by car, have police officers that are stationed in a neighborhood that are walking on foot. Because it's easier for people to feel like you're a person at the end of the day and not some, I guess I would say group of individuals that are coming down to break you down and shake you down that are driving around in a tinted vehicle all day. Walk on the streets amongst the people. Because at the end of the day, cops are citizens. They're citizens.
Right. I totally agree. And it's the power structure of it. The union is we're talking Jimmy Hoffa powerful union. The police are probably the powerfulest union walking around right now. And they do things politically, like we were talking about before the show, about the NRA, having that powerful. That's what police unions have in their states. They have that political influence where they can protect these cops from things, and they can pressure DAs, prosecutors into saying, no, this is how we're going to do it. We voted for you to get in here, or your boy, and those things need to be looked at. There needs to be independent. You can't, like we always talk about, police can't police the police. There has to be independent people, and it should be people from all walks of that area where the police patrol. They should be sitting there, whether they're activists, whether they're a politician coming up, or just anybody in there to say, no, we got some ideas. How can you tell us how to do what we do in our neighborhood just by coming in, hopping out, pulling guns out, and being aggressive? Mm-hmm. You're not, like you said, you're not community policing. You're not community policing. Some things you need to let us police ourselves. Like in Seattle. You know, in Seattle, I forgot what the law is called, but in Seattle, me and you could be walking down the street and be like, "What's up, punk? What's up, punk?" The police could be standing right there, and we could. They let you get your box on. They just officially become the referees. Yeah, that's a law in Seattle. That's a law. You got to let some people handle their own business.
All right, we're starting the bar fight in Seattle, ladies and gentlemen. Drinks are on me. Let's go. Let's fly out. I'm down. I'm down.
You could get your knuckle up on, man. I mean, come on, man. If people weren't, sometimes you got to throw a couple blows here and there.
Yeah, well, Isaac Russo says reform is a more accurate term for what I want. Less violence, more talking. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're saying. I mean, I don't disagree with the idea of the word reform versus defund, but at the end of the day, I think part of that reform incorporates that you're going to defund, because police, like, I was just listening to some a podcaster talk about this the other day, where police are making like billions. I mean, certain precincts are getting billions of dollars, which a lot of that money is going to past cops that have pensions and whatnot and so on and so forth, but also billions of dollars are going towards them buying like military grade equipment. For what? Your police officers, not the military. If you need the military for something, you call the National Guard.
Exactly.
So why do you need them?
And put some leaders. It put a go in between these communities. Like there should be. I forgot who mentioned that. I think it was on Guy's show when I was on there the other day and we were talking. One of the guests that was on there, I can't remember his name, but he was training with the police. Mm-hmm. He was helping them in training because he was in the military and that was what the job he had. He was helping training. And he said the same thing. They used to have those things where there was a go in between. Like mm-hmm. if we knew that this guy is a drug dealer, they would come to those people and say, look, this is your chance. Like I used to say my uncle used to do. My uncle used to come to us first and say, hey, you guys got to stop doing what you're doing right now, or we're going to have to come in heavy. You know what I mean? And that would make us be like, all right, even though we didn't stop, we just changed different
tactics, right?
Of doing things. But we knew, you know what I mean? And that brings up another point, like just an update on like which this whole thing should be looked on. I think she became like swept under the rug, the Breonna Taylor situation. Man, that shit is crazy. They had the warrant for the wrong house. They were looking for somebody that was already in jail, never lived in that house. They don't know who that person is. And then when they asked to see the warrant after all this went down, they said they can't find the warrant.
Interesting. Right? Yeah,
right.
And that's the problem is you have, again, there needs to be a checks and balances with the police system where police can be, like they're not policing themselves and they could say, oh, well, we didn't have this and oh, we didn't have that and oh, this is missing. And somehow they get away with these things. Laura Winslow comes in. What's going on? I believe that's what it says, right? Laura Winslow. I'm hoping I'm not like.
Or Winslow, Urkel, like Urkel, Laura Winslow.
Winslow, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe she's related. She says, "Great video, guys. May I ask what streaming software you're using?" We're using OBS, but there's a bunch of different things that we're using on top of that. So you can inbox us if you want any more information on that. Oh, and anybody out there right now who's watching, hey, share our video, guys. We appreciate y'all if you were sharing this to come join the conversation with as many people as possible talking in here so we can see what's all going on outside of the world and give your opinions on stuff.
Yeah, we don't bite. We could have civil conversations.
Yeah. We don't bite hard. Yeah. I don't know. I might bite hard if we were at Seattle. That way we could. That way we can. Get those bar fights going. Okay, so Coach, now we're going to talk about because we've been talking about getting these, these systems and changing things. And this is an important topic of discussion: voting. Because you're the one who brought this up to me, and you said you've changed your mind on voting, and I need everybody in the audience to know what that is exactly.
Well, I always voted I'd miss some times here and there, but I primarily participated in local. Wherever I was at, I would go vote in that local area about making those changes, get to know things, and get involved in that, and even helped out on a few campaigns here and there. Never voted in my life for the president, because I thought it was a fixed system. I still do think that, but the issue is that if you look at the numbers, if we go by the numbers of what's said, the reason why Trump got elected in every one of those states is because black men did not vote. That's what it is. If you look at all the numbers, the ones that he won in electoral college, that if those black men voted, it would have never went the way that it went. So now in turn, I can't say, all right, guys, go vote, and I'm not voting. You know what I mean? So the reason why I'm going to actually participate in that and go out and help some people to get votes, so that number does not get put out there like that, because it's very disappointing. Very disappointing to see that just because we don't agree with the things, it's like it does come. I don't care who you vote for, but participate. And I think that's where I changed my mind at, was saying that I can't come out here and say these things.
Right, you can't say things if you're not going to do them. It's kind of like, like we talk about. You gotta talk the walk. But if you can talk the talk, and you can walk the walk. But if you talk the walk, then you're going to look a lot better. That your words are going to speak louder. And Laura Winslow says, "Do you guys talk about sports?" Oh yeah, sometimes. Yeah, we talk about all that. We'll actually talk a little bit about that today. And she says, "I've never really participated in local voting, but I am." Isaac Russo says, voter turnout for most elections in the U.S. is below 50%. We can do better and keep racists out of office. Yeah, I totally agree with that, Isaac. I do. No, I mean, and that's a very good point, because I want to talk about this. Why is it like voting as a well, I guess we're a democratic republic, if we're not really quite a democracy, because we elect representatives, so that makes us a republic. But this is the interesting thing, is like voting is like as a right that we have in this country. And it feels like there's so many barriers to it. Why is it that I have to register as a party in order to vote? And I have to vote for whatever party I registered for? Like if I go Republican, I have to vote for everybody on the Republican ballot, and so on and so forth. Yes, that is true. In certain states, I believe even in this state, you have to register as Republican, Democrat, or you can register as independent or whatever else, but then you only get those options.
That doesn't make any sense, because then you could just fill out a form that says I vote Republican and shift it in. So
right, basically. But then at the same time, there's several, like not the presidency level, but at like local government level, there could be several candidates that are of the Republican ballot that you can vote for. Like there might be two Republicans running against each other in a certain district or whatever. So it's different. But regardless,
I don't know. I think you got to look into that. I don't want to quote that, because I know I voted for some Republicans, bro.
All right. Well, that's fine. I'm telling you though, I can look it up after I let you get to your point here, but I'll look it up. But yeah, that's true. And this has always been said. It's been said like a J. Cole song. Why can't I just pick the things I'm funding and the people I'm voting for from an app on my screen? Hey, Sarah, how's it going? She says, hi, Dev. Hi, Coach.
Hey,
hi.
What's going on, Sarah? And that brings us to the point. Should we, like, technology
Wait. Hi, Coach, bitch. What are you talking about?
Who said that?
Sarah. She said, hi, Dev. And then she said, hi, Coach, bitch.
Wait, who's Sarah?
I believe she's from Big Sard Show. So
how can you? Whoa! That's very disrespectful, Sarah. I don't disrespect. You just called me out of my name. I'm a grown man. You don't call a grown man a bitch. Whatever is going on over there, don't bring that shit over here with that. You know what I mean? That's very disrespectful, because if I called you a bitch, you would be having some in your feelings, some Karen moments very quickly.
Some Karen moments.
So don't ever call me out my name like that. Don't ever do that, because that's very disrespectful. But back to what I was saying, yeah, so we got to adjust, like the technology we have, we should be able to do that. But to me, like the system, like you have to adjust to the thing to make it easier for everybody to just go on the app, prove who you are, and vote. You know what I'm saying? Because it's that simple at the thing. Like scan your ID, prove who you are and vote. You know what I'm saying? You got to show your ID at the thing and vote and pull up something like that, and then you go and you can handle it that way. So the big thing that they're going to have to probably decide in the next, couple of years is let's get the technology involved to make this a lot easier for voters to get where they need to go, and that'll eliminate some voter suppression. And I think that's what it'll get in the way, some voter suppression, where some people can't make it, or can't get there. It'll save money for the people that have to raise money to go drive people to go pick them up to get those votes. I mean, it'd just be a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, like I was saying about the whole idea of what I was saying about the whole idea of like voting with like from an app on your screen, because they want to come up with all these reasons like, well, it's just not secure. So why are there a bunch of bank apps that can literally hold all of my money in them? Like I hold millions of dollars and I can ship and send it via my phone, from a bank account, and it's linked to all of that stuff. There's apps for my taxes where people could get my personal information and steal it and then make, if they wanted to hack it, right? Like TurboTax or whatever. I got the app on my phone. They could go and hack it, get all my tax information, and, basically hijack my financial life. If they wanted to, they could do that. And, we had the Equifax breach, all these different things. So my question is, why is it like so brick and mortar that we can just like, oh yeah, we need to get these pieces of paper, you have to vote by paper, by mail to do this, like this traditional fashion. And I think it's like a way to like obstruct people, because truthfully, when voting day comes and it was just like almost like an app that came up on the phone, like today's the day, guys, and people just went through and picked who they wanted.
Right.
I think it'd be effective. And again, I don't want to hear that. I mean, I think there's people that are afraid of the new technology and they're like, oh boy, that's going to be hacked, or I don't trust it. I want to do the paper thing. That's fine. I think you should leave both options available. But I think you should also open the table to digital voting, which isn't that kind of what happens anyway? If I'm not mistaken, at the voting booth now, I mean, it is like they have those display screens and stuff now too, like not just paper ballots, but actual digital ballots where like you like click a button on a screen, and that's interesting.
Yeah. Some places do still have there's different places, different states do things. I think they should just federally get on say, hey man, you could just use your phone. Everybody has one. If there's not those, you can send in the absentee ballot. They're making a big deal about that coming up. There is some flaws in it because people are getting sent, like people that used to live in a house are getting sent like 3 different people's ballots, and they can just fill them out and send them in.
Right.
You know what I mean? I get that part. But I don't think it's that huge of a problem where it'll sway an election. You know what I mean? Like they should have a better system in place that only sends one per address, unless that person shows up. Like if you want that absentee ballot, you got to go fill it out, and say who's all in your household. That's what you're getting sent. And that's all you got to deal with. If for some instance there's somebody in the household that shouldn't be there, you know how it is, family members, system, all kinds of bullshit. They just walk down to their nearest place and vote if that's the problem. So it eliminate all that bullshit.
Yeah.
So and in saying that, another thing I want people to really understand out here is that the other day, like 2 weeks ago, brought it up back to my attention, is Snoop Dogg came out and said, hey man, which I think he should stick to this. I think he should make a big post about this and go around and talk about this. Because, he has a great following. He's recognizable. He could say, he said, I didn't know I could vote until this year because I have a felony. I was always taught that you can't vote if you have a felony. And that's not true. You can vote in all states with a felony. There's different things that you might have to do. Like you might have to fill out a piece of paper and get something back to show to them to say that. There's only like 9 states that do that. I'm not going to go down all the 9 names. I don't remember them offhand. And also, I'm not going to do all the research for you guys. You know what I mean? That's when it turns into me getting paid. I don't research for other people. I always say just go do your research. But most states you can, if you finished your jail sentence, some states, there's a couple that say you got to completely be off of probation to vote. Most states, you don't have to be off. You could be just as long as you're not in a jail cell. You got your sentence. You're not waiting for court. As long as you're that goes on, you can go vote. Don't let people tell you that no more. Go vote. You're gonna have to vote, even if you got a felony. Do that Because if you want change, you can't sit back and say, I'm going to keep doing criminal shit because it's not going to change and gather more felonies. You got to go out there and make some kind of change by going to do that vote. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Now, again, this is something I wanted to bring up real quick. A couple of comments went by. Laura said that she was in a TCC history class, and she said she doesn't know the Democrat Party is much better than a Republican. Here's what I always tell people. Like, you can look at the past parties and say what they did in the past, whatever. I don't really care about all that. I look at the parties of the people and what they're doing today, and that's how I decide who I want to vote for. Coach, while you were talking, but that's a great point. You're talking about felons can vote. So all my fellow felons out there, all my fellow felons, all my felons that are guilty of cow stealing or whatever out here in the middle of here in the middle of Martinsburg. Yeah, go ahead and vote, guys. But anyway, I did look it up. You are correct. Local and federal levels and so on and so forth, you do not have to vote with what your party affiliates with, but for the presidency, you do. So if you want to vote for the Republican president, you have to be Republican, and then Democrat, you have to register Democrat. So
yes. Yeah, I totally agree.
So that's, like I said, to me, that's still strange. I mean, what if you wanted to vote for an independent? But I regardless, I digress. Now, anyway, what do we got here? Someone else said something. Did you guys hear about the cop killing in Atlanta? Yes, we did. Me and Coach were just talking about that before the show started. And Isaac says prisoners should be allowed to vote. Just because they're in jail doesn't change the fact that they're citizens. Yeah, I also agree with that, too. I mean, I'm kind of curious, though, Coach. What do you think?
With that. I don't agree with that because there's a big population of people. You got to finish your sentence. You did something screwed up. And that's where money could come involved again. Also, because if you're in a jail cell, it wouldn't take too much to get your vote, bro. Yeah. It wouldn't take too much money. It would be well spent money by that campaign.
That is true. They would just be like, "Hey, you guys want out?" Yeah, but which is
commissary.
But which is kind of true, though. I mean, think about all the people that have been locked up and incarcerated for marijuana for years. Don't you think those people deserve a vote to get themselves out of there for something that people are smoking right now legally?
I don't know, man. I like, you got to look at things like some things like it's the system. I look at the system. You got to represent what the system is. We might say it's wrong at this particular time, but that might be the niche. If it affects you, that's the niche you go support to get it changed. But what can you do? You could argue that point all day. I don't think I think tearing that system down. You got people that are fighting every day to tear the jail system down. You got people fighting every day that say prisoners should be able to vote. There's those different things that have to line up to make those changes.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would be against, because I would be for prisoners voting. My thing, reason why the only thing I would say is that I don't think they would be informed enough to make a decision on who to vote for, because I don't know how much they would be able, they'd be able to see parts of the outside world, but not enough to be especially if they've been in there for years. I mean, who do they know who they're going to vote for and what they really stand for outside of what they hear from either their television time or the people that they talk to and interact with within the walls and so on. So again, I think that would probably be the problem, but I would agree with them actually voting. That's my take. Renee, our bestie Renee says, I agree with Coach on that. Okay, Renee. All right, I see you switching your back on me. No, I'm just playing. But
yet it's Gustafson.
I'm Gustafson. What did she do? Message you or come to you and tell you? I'm bad at it. Every time I look at it, I want to. Hey, it's just like you and Everlast. Remember Everlast? I know her real name, but you call her Everlast. That's fine. That's okay. We both have. I got Gustafon and you got Everlast. It's okay. We both got problems. Austin Faye said he's voting for himself. Awesome, Faye. Hey, we'll vote for you too.
Hey, get us some seats on the cabinet and all that. We'll get you up there. We'll get you elected.
We'll get you a campaign, Faye. Don't you worry.
Get a budget. We're with it.
Yeah. Hey, anybody out there who's watching the stream right now, hey, give us a like, give us a share this video. Please, we want to get the word out, get as many people in here chatting it up as possible. We love you. We love everybody out there. Heart reacts. We like those too. Now, I want to switch gears a little bit because, this has been a good conversation talking about voting. And I want to let's go in the sports world a little bit, away from the vote and the politics. We'll come back. So take a guess at who got Corona. What NFL?
Zeke.
Zeke. Zeke boy got the Rona. Now, granted, it's not the only NFL player who's gotten it. Von Miller had it. One of the Jacksonville Jaguars defensive linemen had it. And a lot of them are still fine. From what I hear, a lot of them are still okay and fine, and they'll be all right. But it is funny to hear like Zeke's gonna get the Rona. So maybe that's like the curse of the Dallas Cowboys. They're gonna lose their running back, and then they're gonna fall apart. Yeah, that's right, Cowboys fans, take that.
Everybody's gonna have the Rona, like all the Cowboys. Dak's gonna not get his contract because he catches the Rona. This is gonna be bad up there. No,
Yeah.
I mean, bro, it's a medical thing though too. I don't think they have to. They unless it's a policy in the thing that the NFL can use your records, which I don't think they can. I don't think they can make a policy like that. But I don't know if it's under pandemic or anything. If there's a special clause in there that says that they can and come out and say it. So that means that these people are actually saying it. So imagine all the people that are not saying it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there might even like they've been saying there's people that might have it that don't even know they have it because they're asymptomatic. So it's like there's people walking around that are like, oh, I'm fine, like, and they probably had it, and like it probably was just as simple as like like their nose ran for 2 days and it was done. And that's like I said, like that stuff's interesting to me.
And I think once they go back to camp, we'll just stay on the NFL sport. Once they go back to camp, I think they're gonna weed all that out right away. They're gonna check, and they're gonna be checking people every day as they come into the thing. I don't know about are they gonna test them every day. I'm pretty sure that they're going to
That'd
definitely.
Be insane.
Huh?
That'd be insane because I think as of right now the only test is still that nose swab thing. So like they would get their nose like raped every day to try and see if they had it.
Do we really think Trump is getting that stuck in his nose every day?
No. I don't believe so. I don't even think, honestly, I don't even think they're testing for it every day at the White House. They're just like, because all the politicians, you see them, they're all standing up there without their masks on and like right beside each other, not even following the guidelines. That's not just here, that's like everywhere.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
So it makes you wonder, like, they don't even care.
Yeah, they
don't.
There are
politicians that have gotten sick from it. It's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah. And that brings us to the thing, like that we said about the ones that open and they starting to get numbers back out that opened early, like a Texas and Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Those numbers did spike back up. It's nothing dramatic, but it is a huge, like they're like, we're back basically to where we started from.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think we had this conversation before. I agree that we're just going to have to fight this. I don't know how bad it's going to get, like when it comes flu time again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that going to be the one where we might have to, lay back because it could get totally bad, worse than what was now? I don't know. So we're just going to have to check that out. But right now, I think we just got to go out and fight it and be responsible because you can't stay closed right now at this point.
Right. Well, if it comes back like towards the fall time, we can just re-up pandemic protocols, like back into masks and like stay-at-home orders and all that jazz if need be.
And eat in restaurants, but you guys can keep your restaurant open, just takeout.
Yeah,
you know,
just that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right. Let's invest in the Grubhub. Let's get Bridget together or some shit.
Bro, let's get a fleet of cars and like start our own Uber. Start our own Uber Eats. Our own Uber Eats. Now, okay, here's some funny stuff. I'm trying not to swear because I don't want the Facebook to nerf the algorithm. So anyway, Twitter. Yesterday's Trump's birthday. If I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, yesterday was Trump's birthday, correct?
Yeah.
Yesterday was Sunday. Okay, so Trump's birthday come, and Twitter decided to tweet at Trump on his birthday and say all birthdays matter, and then made it Barack Obama Day. And I have to be honest with you, like, I think that is the best analogy for people in the conservative to understand what the Black Lives Matter movement means and what it means when you say all lives matter. When they tweeted that, I think it's beautiful. It hits nail right in the head. I said happy birthday to Donald on his special day, but after all birthdays matter, right? That was from George Takei, and that's the honest to goodness truth. I mean, when you say all birthdays matter, what are you saying? You're saying, oh, I know it's your birthday and it's your special day, but everybody has a birthday. Okay, you're nothing special. No, that's
Right.
not. That's what you're saying when you say all lives matter. It's the same concept. It's like, oh, we know. When you say all lives matter, it's like, yeah, you're black, but the thing is, like, we're all races and we're all people, and like, all lives matter. Yeah, but clearly right now, today is our day, and we're talking about why black people are systematically oppressed in this country. Not by everybody and everything, but there are systems in place to suppress them. So
Those
again,
systems didn't go away 50 years ago just because they gave us the right to vote.
yeah,
And you can't, in a 50-year span, you can't expect everything to be fixed. That's the problem. People thinking, oh, it's fixed. It's not. It's not fixed. It was just, and then they're saying, well, why didn't you had that time, you got the same rights and everything. Yeah, for 50, let's think 50, how long America has been around, and let's say how long people have to have that generational wealth put in place. Those are the problems right there.
mm-hmm.
You can't fix nothing without having a piece of that wealth. We spend a lot of money, but we do not bring in the chunk that we should be getting, the percentage of what we are in this American economy.
Yeah.
So that's the problem too. And
Right
it was
on.
something like you said. I'm sure he was up in the White House fucking pulling his toupee out.
Right,
Shit.
he's like, ooh, like, just getting so mad. Yeah, Jamie Butler says, I know that ruined his whole day. His whole day was ruined. He was sitting there like, oh, son of a, you know what I mean? Like, oh, here they go again with all this stuff. Like, he's like, for one, today's my birthday. Okay, why am I not being made special? Like, all that crap.
You're not being praised right now because you're doing a shitty job.
Yeah.
It's politics season, bro. Everybody's coming for each other's neck. This is gonna be fun though. This is going to be my highlight since, I didn't have no sports in a while. I've been waiting for this. I want to see these two idiots go at each other. You know what I mean? I want to see them have a debate. I want to see those debates.
I don't even know what that would look like. I'm being completely honest. I don't know what a debate between those two would look like. I think it's going to be two people incoherently arguing about nothing. Talking about nothing, straight up nothing. They're going to say points. The other one's going to act like he didn't even say what he just said. He's going to say, no, he's wrong. He's wrong about that. And then Joe's going to be like, well, he's wrong. He's wrong about that. And it's just going to be unproductive conversation. They're not even going to talk about anything.
Hilarious. If you get the right people to ask the right questions, the moderators, oh, bro, it's going to be classic. They're going to say some dumb shit because they're both got mouths that say dumb shit. Like when it was with Hillary was just poking him. You know what I mean? Trying to be presidential and keeping it, tight. Joe's going to go off the rails once Trump says something, and they're going to go back and forth. Even if they don't accomplish nothing, it's still going to be funny as hell to see.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to see that. And a point it makes, though, is like the things that are going to be coming up right now is going to be all politically strategic. Don't let these things get to you. You just gotta figure out what you need to do in November and go vote and get the people that you need in there. And like I've been suggesting too, is a big part of that is like you guys are in history, Dev. You guys' ages, you young people out here getting started in your journey, seeing what the world's really about. You guys are part of history. You had a chance to make it, make this shit change. You know what I mean?
Right on. Hey, and here's the thing. We've been talking about like, what is history doing for us and how are we making the best of our lives here, historically speaking, like from the younger generation, and this is the point I was going to bring up, like socially speaking, like from a sociology perspective, why we have racism still in this community is because we have people that were alive when racism was basically still okay. I mean, we have a community of people, generations of people that have mindsets that they dictated it was okay. Like it's going to take time to move past those. And I think the younger generation who has been brought up and really understands these concepts are going to change all of that. And of course, again, we have the old guard who wants to, keep fighting for things that they're just silly and forgettable.
That's the problem though too, though. You got to be, when you want change, when people are holding on a grip, a tug of war that they've been winning all this time and they're slowly moving to where the other side is winning, shit's going to get desperate. They're going to do some fucked up shit some messed up shit to keep a hold of it. They are going to do some stuff to keep a hold of it. So like things that we're seeing right now with the riots, it's calmed down now. A lot of that stuff that they're like the media, you can't look at those media. If you look at those media things all day, you won't know what you're talking about.
Right.
You have no clue what's going on. You got to go check out some lives, like I said before. See the protests for what they really are, and it's a small percentage. Just like it's a small percentage of bad cops, it's a small percentage of people that are causing that destruction, and they're doing it politically too. They are sent out there to do those things.
Right. Well,
on both sides.
I was just talking. We were on the big. I was on the Big Sarge show the other day, and I was talking. They were talking about Chaz, which is that big Capitol Hill autonomous zone. It's like they're like basically saying their own country in the middle of Seattle or whatever, right? And we don't have to get all that. I mean, I think it's kind of ridiculous. But I do say this is that like there they are. They're talking about these rumors that the people within that area are making the business owners do certain things and holding them hostage and saying that, you know, they're taking all these things away from them. But then when they interviewed business owners said, no, we're not having any problems of the sort. And they're just rumors, you know? And then, you know, Sarge brought up the point to me. He's like, yeah, they're not going to say that because of, you know, the people who are still there right now and they're probably feeling intimidated. But I was like, okay. I'm like, I can understand that perspective. I said, but at the same time, me and you, Coach, were part of a protest where people 5 minutes immediately after it happened were saying that we were blocking the streets and we were destroying property when none of that ever happened. So I saw from firsthand experience now that people will make up crazy narratives they have no idea even exist just because they want to say some messed up stuff. And so then when that happens, now that, to me, I question everything, and I only want to believe it at the local source.
Yeah,
like I'll wait for people to come out and say about it and everything else, but I'm done. I'm so done with believing everything that people say, the media says, etc. Like pretty much, I'm trying to withhold judgment on most things and listen to, like we've always said, multiple voices at once. I go to the lives. The lives will tell everything.
Yeah, you'll get the true fact. And let's be honest, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, these guys are just go back in your mother's basement. You guys they're harmless. And then say they're down there threatening them, putting guns to their head, saying, don't say anything and shaking them down. Is there probably people in there attempting to do that and getting away with it? Yes, but I guarantee you they have nothing to do with these guys because these guys are basically trying to bring back the hippie movement.
Right, like, in downtown Seattle.
Yeah.
Worst place ever.
Right. They're trying to bring all that, like, love is love. Once the guns start getting drawn, those guys are going to leave. Let them have a little fun. Don't go in there and pounce on them. Just say, hey, guys, it's time to go. Right. You guys had fun. It's time to go.
Yeah, and I was going to make that a point, too, because that was a very big talking point. Again, like, I tend to lean towards what is the governor of the governor and the mayor of that city saying? Because those people are going to know what's going on with the interests of their people from their town.
They've been in there. The police chief.
The police chief, police officers have been in there and said we need to do better. Like they're with the people in the thing.
They're trying to fix the problem, and you can't have. If you're saying like they're always saying, well, we're like the COVID, we're going to leave it up to the governors. But now, because it's election time and you want to seem tough, you're going to say I'm going to send in there people in there to stomp them. Come on, man. That's so like everybody's hypocritical. But up at that position, you have so many people that are in your circle to make so you don't be hypocritical about things. Right. You know what I mean? You're just flying off the handle because you got
at the local level. Because at the local level, everybody knows who you are. Like it's not enough national level. At the local level, people know who you are, and they're going to expose you if you do the wrong thing. And I think they're doing the right thing there over in Seattle, which is cool. I thought the whole thing from a social experiment thing is neat. Like the idea of like people just saying like, all right, Pretoria. No,
we just took over 6 blocks and we're just sitting there. But we know, like when the National Guard comes in and says, hey, we had enough. Those people are going to go back home and hey, we took over 6 city blocks. They're going to be going back to colleges and nice living homes because most of those people are not like they're a privileged setting. You know what I mean? They're like, we don't have to worry about it. Now, if we're saying like these are Antifa and all that, and they say, well, they're going to run out of food. Like they're going to run out of food when Antifa wants them to run out of food. They're if that's what they're funded by and that's what they're getting, they have everything they need. They don't cutting off the water. These, like I said, it's going to be a hippie thing. They're not going to be worried about you cutting off the water and electricity. They will get the things that they need for that particular time until Antifa says enough. All right, we've got our point across.
Yeah.
Let's pull the plug.
Jamie Butler says blink twice if you're scared. I've been like sitting there blinking. I've been blinking like hard, twice hard a lot this whole time, just to drive the point home. No, you're right. That was actually another thing I thought was funny is cut the power and water. But aren't there businesses that are still operating within the Chaz? So you're gonna, hey, business owners, guess what? We're cutting off your power. Go home. What are you going to do? Are you going to compensate them for the days without their business being open? Because I'm sure, even though they want to say that it's just some big hippie thing and whatever else, and they're tearing down businesses or whatever, right? I'm sure that's whatever they want to say. There are businesses that are making a killing right now because they're open and those people were there and they can sell to them.
Money coming in. Yeah, they're getting.
And you're going to tell them, we're shutting off the power and water because we don't want these people here. And granted, I know there's people that probably do not want them there, and that's fine. That's totally okay.
But if I was there, even if I didn't agree, like if it was a bunch of like right wingers came in there and doing what they're doing, I would probably but these people are non-violent. They're not violent. There's no violence coming in there. They're trying to police themselves, which is a joke, because they had this dude in there that was preaching Jesus and had the speaker, and the dude hugged him and he kissed him. He's like, what? He's like, how's it feel to get kissed by the gay dude? The dude starts hitting with scripture and all this stuff.
They had like a mayor who was a rapper. They had a mayor who was a rapper at the time. He was like the leader of the thing. And I mean, now I've seen the reports of there's been people with guns that guard the gates of the Chaz.
Yeah.
And I've seen, but here's the thing. Again, another double standard. Why is it that those people aren't allowed to stand outside with their concealed guns, but you are? You can walk down the street into my Walmart, wherever you want with your concealed guns. I think that's a double standard. I think when people get all like huffy and puffy about that, it's some bullshit. Like,
yeah, and it's a totally different ball game too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even compare the two because one I think is useless to even participate in because that law is not going to change. It tells me you don't have nothing worth fighting for, and you don't see anything else worth fighting for to change. You know what I mean? Like, change to make this better for everybody, except that is like going down to the government for 2A, which is not going to change unless the NRA falls apart. Because like we were talking about earlier, they got too much money in it. Let these people go ahead, have their little fun. I guarantee you, if the COVID wasn't still around and things were going on, they would have squashed it already.
Yeah.
But they're trying to look at it in a different manner. Seattle's always been like that. When the time comes, if they don't want to leave, they're gonna go in there and do what they got to do.
Well, I think it's a progressive manner. I think it's a progressive kind of thing. I think you need to look at it like the relationship with the police in this country is being dismantled. Right. It's being torn apart. There is no trust, period. Like, pretty much at this point, there is no trust with the police system in America. I really do believe that from my perspective anyway. Like, there's people that do trust that system, but again, I think most people don't. And I don't have any statistical data to back that up. That's my assertion. But regardless, I really do believe that based on what I see. And I think that they're handling it in that manner where they're saying, you know what? We have to let these people do their thing, and we have to be, as the police of this city, we have to allow them room to move and maneuver, and we can't just crack down on them because again, police are citizens. That's something people forget. I don't know why I have to repeat it. I feel like I have to repeat it, but police are citizens. And they don't just, even though they have the rights to go ahead and police the people around them, doesn't give them special rights to be like, oh yeah, I'm getting rid of, this whole movement and this whole thing.
And another thing I want to say about cops too, like I know it's a big subject, but it has to change. People can't let this be swept under the rug like in the past when something happens in this manner, like the riots and all that, like in '92. I was there. I was a young kid during those riots with the Rodney King. A lot of promises was made. But people took their foot off the gas once it was over and didn't go in there and hold them accountable to make some of those changes. You got to keep your foot on the gas and say, let's make these changes right now. Because let's be honest, if I shoot a cop, right? Every cop in this country is going to want to kill me, right? For that one cop, right? So why is it so wrong that if one person, I don't give a fuck if it's one person, gets killed by a cop, the whole America shouldn't be outraged about it. I don't care if they're black, white, whatever. You should not be killed by a cop unless you're trying to use deadly force. If you get disrespected, like if you get a guy fighting back with you, whoop his ass. You got the training. You got more people that are going to come and attack, whoop his ass, throw the handcuffs in him, send him to jail, and he has to deal what he has to deal with. Deadly force to me is not like what happened in Atlanta. Oh, he took the taser and he pointed at me. So if you're saying that taser is deadly force, you are using that taser every day on people, saying it's not deadly force. And then you end up shooting somebody. You guys got embarrassed. You had to make a quick decision. Your techniques didn't work. He got out of it and he bolted. He took your taser. You got embarrassed and you made the wrong decision. You don't shoot a man in the back. That's what has to change. We talked about that with the kid in Pittsburgh. I don't care if the kid if he doesn't have a gun, I still don't think, if he has a gun in his hand, I still don't think you can shoot him in the back. He should have to turn, or if you see that, if he grabs somebody like he's going to do something, I understand all that. But if he's just running, I don't think you should shoot a guy in the back. It's just it's not cool. You back in the days, right? Wild, Wild West, bro. Wild, Wild West. I respect that. They used to just come out of the saloon and be like, argument in the bar, and they just would take 10 spaces and let's go. You know what I mean? You didn't
get the duel
shoot.
going. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't shoot people that didn't have a gun in their hand. That was considered cowardly. It still should be considered cowardly to this day. Like you just said, it shouldn't be no tactical shit. Like, but that whole position we talked about before, they should have known the climate of Atlanta. They should have just, all he did was, he was drunk, DUI. Okay, we're going to write this down. He was corrigible. We're going to write this down, give you a ticket. You show up to court or we're going to be at your front door. It's that simple. We're taking you in right there and you're going to have to go through the process. They should have known the climate and just let him go. Walk home. Don't come back for this car or you're getting arrested. Something like that.
Right. Well, now here's the thing. So now on the Sarge show, I had said that I had said that I thought the shooting was justified. Hold on one sec before we continue. I'm gonna read a couple comments. Sarah says, straight on, Dev. Jamie Butler sent us a bunch of clapping emojis. Sarah said, seriously, what is with the F-bombs, coach? And then also, the cop did the right thing. Give your head a shake, coach. Those last two are from Sarah. But regardless, I said that I agreed with I thought it was justified. Now, I have to maybe even backpedal back because I do have to think about it like this. I mean, my original thought process was, well, if he had the taser, I mean, what if he tased somebody and then he was going to do something to that officer, or he could, harm him if he disabled him or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, though, I mean, I still doesn't give you justification to shoot and kill someone dead, I even said that too. And if now again, I didn't watch the full video, so I don't know. But if he was shot in the back, then obviously there's something wrong with that. Obviously. Because you have to be... What's the point? If he's running away, then, you just shot someone who's running away. Now, right, Aaron, I agree with what you're saying. So I know people who watch the Big Sarge show and also watch me are going to be mad because they're going to call me a flip-flop. But when in light of new evidence, you change your mind. And I have to agree and say that it was unjustified. Only because, again, the taser is not deadly force.
Explanation? Fuck them.
What's
you
that?
Don't owe no
I'm just saying, what I'm saying, though, because this is what I'm trying to do is set an example, because this is what we do at Bridging the Gap, unlike other places where we hold to our dogma and don't change our minds in light of new evidence. If you're wrong, I'm okay to admit that I was wrong. And that's a problem for people, I'm sure. That they're not allowed to admit when they were wrong when they said something. And that's fine. We're all wrong. Broken clock's right twice a day or whatever. But again, I was wrong, so I'm going to change my position on that. Okay, Melvin says, in the Navy, we use deadly force triangle. The person has to have capability, opportunity, and show intent to kill before we can use deadly force. And I think that's the part you'd be missing from that triangle. Then would be show content to kill, because could they have the capability? I think any human being has the capability to kill somebody. Did they have the opportunity? I think that he could have had the opportunity, but was he going to use deadly force? No, he didn't have any. And he didn't seem like he had consent to kill. Like the dude wasn't look like he was trying to kill nobody. He was just trashed. Was he trashed off his ass? And he didn't want to pay a DUI, and he's trying to get away. Is that what it was?
Yeah, or it could have been anything, bro. It
Right.
could have been when you're in that frame of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've done it before. I've been arrested, um, in a situation. I ended up getting the charges dropped because I just knew some people that were like, it wasn't that bad. Where I pulled myself away from police and we got into the tussle. They beat my ass, cuffed me up, and took me to the jail. Came in the cell and said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And because I know a few people, and they say you can't do that. What are you doing? And I was like, yeah, I was a little tipsy. Plus, the dude was talking crazy. I wanted to get it on. Yeah, but look at you now. You're all lumped up, and we could have shot you. And you learn those things, and that's community policing because they knew who I was. They knew who I was, exactly who I was. I was out doing dumb shit. I deserved everything I got. I'm not saying that. But they knew enough to come in there and say, we're gonna just keep you in the drunk tank for the night and let bygones be bygones. I have respect for that. I respect those guys when I see them. What's up, guys? Are you good tonight? I see you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Put the bottle down. Yeah, right. But
right.
now I'm going to say this about what Melvin said. Melvin, I'm going to use that for now on whenever I'm talking about police brutality. Like that triangle thing you brought up there, I'm actually going to use that because I'm going to say to anybody who wants to try and justify police shooting, I'm going to say, okay, did they have the capability? Did they have the opportunity? Did they show intent to kill? And if they don't have any, if they don't meet all three of those, then I don't think it was justified. I think that's a great way to figure that out, like for the future. That way, like it's like a system in your mind, like a criterion.
Here's a question for Melvin on saying that in the training part of it. Should police get some kind of training from our armed forces, the discipline part of it, the discipline? Because our armed forces are well disciplined. You know, they have the discipline to recognize, be able to control a situation, their heart rate, not freak out. And plus, you guys probably have the top of line of the psychological part of it, of saying, can this person last? Can this person make it through this tough stuff that they're going to have to decision on? Is the armed forces psychological test stronger than the police, and should they both be, on the same level? If Melvin, if you're still out there.
Yeah, that'd be a great question, Melvin. I'll wait for him to respond if he comes up in the chat and says anything. And then let's address this. We were said about dropping the F-bombs. Hey, now, the only reason why I'm trying not, and I did say the F-bomb already, so it's already too late, but the only reason why we're trying not to is the algorithm. That's the only reason why, is because I know Facebook will see the F word and they'll be like, done, nerf it, can't, 100 views minimum, that's it, see ya, have a good one. But we already broke the cookie jar, and it's our show!
Yeah, and I'm working on that. If we could prove that, the F words, I know I can go into situations and know my audience. And like I said, that's why we built this platform. So I could say F every time I want to say F. And there's no restriction. Freedom of speech on Bridging the Gap. First
freedom
Amendment.
Of speech. I said freedom of speech. Freedom of speech, everybody. Get that made into a t-shirt. It's like a drunken me, and it's like holding a bottle. I'll wear this hat in that picture. I'll have like a bottle of like Henny or something. I don't know. Maybe even some like Svedka. And it's just like freedom of speech.
Okay, let's go on to that though. Nobody's really, I talked to like I told you before, I had a few of my white buddies and friends. They used to get in my inbox, some family members, because I have some family members that are white. They ask me like, what's going on, man? Are you cool? How's the family? The situation's messed up out here. And we had conversations about, they're like, that's bullshit. They're saying this white guilt thing. Dev, how do you feel about these things? How do you feel about about like what's going on? Do you feel like you're being overpassed? Do you have like, I have to do this because of the bad things, or is this, that type of situation?
I will answer that question in 1 second. Melvin got back and said the private company that trains some of our military used to be named Blackwater. Trains police as well. Also, a lot of military get out and join the police force, so they have no excuse to be so reckless, is what he's saying. He's saying they have comrades and people within the barracks that have that have military training and so on. And
that's why I think we need to get with dude. Remember we were talking with Josh about the debate thing? Mm-hmm. I think Melvin and Big Sarge would be a great conversation to have.
I told Melvin, debate?
Yes. to have that conversation, but on a neutral platform. Like if we just hold it on our platform, so nobody can control the narrative, and
Right.
we set up the rules on let them go at it. I think he would understand a lot more coming from a guy that served in this country. He can't use that.
Yeah.
He can't use that card. Can't
Right.
use that card on somebody like Melvin, because Melvin's been through it. He's still in it.
So it'd be a good debate. Yeah, well, we'll have to reach out, Melvin. If you're down, let's do it. Now anyway, you asked me about do I feel like I need to do this because I am white? Like I have to perpetuate.
Yeah. I feel about the whole white guilt thing that's going around.
When you say white guilt, like making people feel guilty for like slavery and stuff in the past.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for one, like I think if you're somebody that was, if you're not inherently racist, right? Like people like to argue, and if you're someone who was born, 1970s, like you weren't a part of that whole thing, right? Like that whole era, whatever. I don't think you should have guilt, but you should have a responsibility to your fellow man in society to do the right thing. And that's not a guilt thing. That's oh no, like, because I don't have guilty because I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing, right? I had nothing. I did nothing to nobody. But at the same time, I want to make it better for the people that I know are underprivileged in society. And I feel like that's our responsibility as men and women, as brothers and sisters of humanity.
Right.
Now, how do I feel about it though? I do feel it's a crappy thing when people try to guilt white people into feeling that way. Right. Now, granted, if they're showing some kind of racial bias, then yeah, but I'm not going to use the argument of, oh, well, white people that's not the point of the argument. When I ever refer to white people in the past and what they have done, it's not as like this all-encompassing thing, but rather just explaining a social construct that happened in the past, historically.
And yeah, you're absolutely right. Nobody's looking for the true people. If somebody's guilting you into doing something, their intentions are not to what it is about. It's not the good thing about the change. They're trying something else to get something else out of you, get something revved up. Let's be honest. White people always been in this fight with us. Now it's erupting into where we've seen the numbers this time where it's like, you guys are losing grip of that, and you have, like you said, the responsibility. I don't want you to feel guilt. Fuck that. You're right. You weren't there. But if you don't understand what happened back then and understanding that things need to change on how it is because of the things that happened back there, and you say you gotta have equal opportunity. I have blah, 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 blah. If you don't understand that part of it right there, I don't even want to talk to you, because you're not open up to any kind of like saying like, oh, you guys, you can vote, you can go out and start your own business, you can do all these things. There's still obstacles. You guys had so many year head start. We had 50 years in this making where we're actually able to do something, and there was still other things that kept coming after that with the crack era, the jails, the police things that are going, the unproportional
redlining, all the different things within society,
all the different things that pop up. So you don't want no guilt. It's your responsibility to break that cycle in your households. Stop letting your uncle tell your nephew that's 5 years old, raise him to have those same morals from
even conflicting morals, like even to raise them. And Melvin said something great. He said, we don't want our white brothers and sisters to be guilty for the past. We want them to understand to understand that those things in the past still have an effect on our lives today. And I think that's pretty much like spot on. I mean, that's it. Like when we bring it up, like when I bring it up or anybody brings it up about what white people did, it's not saying you did it. No one's saying that. Well, there are people that might say that, but whenever I'm addressing you and saying that, I'm saying that's why black people have problems now. And there are people in the society who are still racist, and there's just and there are racial biases. There are racial biases that exist, like, when it comes to being shook down by police, whether it comes by loans, like going out for loans, for competitive loans, and all kinds of different things. Yeah. Melvin replied to one of Todd's comments. He said, yes, that's why they changed the name and did a facelift. It's a different company, but not really. It's a whole big political thing on that situation. Jamie Butler says, just have a sense of decency. And then Somebody shared a link to our to a Fiverr. Listen, bro, we're not going to the Fiverr. What is this? You're gonna shamelessly plug your Fiverr in our chat? Get out of here. Beat it.
Yeah,
I don't
we
know.
need-
Wait, hold on. Let me see what it is first. Hold on. I'm gonna go look and see what it is first. I am curious before we end the show. But go ahead. Let's go see what you're gonna say.
You gotta gun them. You gotta gun them. Yeah, like I was saying, nobody needs to do that. Just break the cycle of doing it. Talk to the people around you and let them know. Stand up for that. Don't be scared. I'm not scared to tell anybody in my family when they're wrong and give them the right information. Like that little young girl that we talked about last year, that little white girl explaining to her parents. Her parents were obviously racist, and she was breaking that cycle at age 13 and 14 by going out in the world and saying, "Hey, man, why are you teaching me this stuff?" And that's what needs to happen.
Oh, wait. Okay. He's saying he will design a professional iTunes, Spotify cover podcast logo for us.
Send it in.
I don't know, $30? $30? Hey, anybody out there? Oh, he's got 3D mock-ups, cover art, thumbnail, social media kit, source file, commercial use. Wow, man. Thank you. But with all seriousness, are you going to actually deliver all that stuff? Because last time I used Fiverr and I had someone redesign the logo that we have now, they literally, as saying they were a professional, could not deliver the correct size of logo and gave me one size logo that was it, and it only fits our Facebook thing. That's it. It only fits I have a redesigned logo that literally only fits that. So are you actually going to deliver on that? Or is that just some BS? So
prove it to us. Prove it to us. Take something that you want to show us, make it, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah,
we'll see if
Let's be real. He spammed his stuff in our chat, and then he dipped. he dipped. He's like, all right, they click it. So you have a good one, guys. I'm sure.
Well, that's how most of those groups are when you share to those groups. That's why it's very important that people out there, when you go to a group and share something, this is what I do. I think it's going to pay off.
Pro tips with Coach. Go ahead.
I share into the group and I go down and find something else to like. Like just go through it and like somebody else's stuff. You can't just drop something somewhere and then don't participate in it, except that people are going to support what you're doing. You got to show some kind of acknowledgement to other people's stuff, because we have this conversation all the time when we say that support equals support. Who decides first who's going to like people's stuff?
Right. You got to reach out with that olive branch.
Yeah. I always choose to go out and reach out to other people first. Once I don't get it reciprocated, that's all you're getting from me. I'm not going to, because let's be honest, I heard nothing groundbreaking in these, everybody's at working action in these groups. We're trying to get to that point. We're working on our craft and doing all that thing. What's wrong with politics and showing each other a little bit of love?
Even if they're not as big as you. Like, why? Like, why not, Yeah. Melvin said, if you asked me 4 days ago to debate Big Sarge, the answer would have been yes. But after seeing and hearing some of his ideology, I know it's a dead end. Well, again, Melv, we don't blame you. We just threw the idea out there because we thought it would be a good discussion. I totally understand.
I got that when I talked to him before about it. He was, if you listen to it, there's no wiggle room in it. It's like, it's this. And there's no, I don't understand it. I don't understand if it's the control part issue where you got to do it on a platform. I think it would have been a great discussion to witness for people out here to see it. Because Mel's laid back. I wilded out on about a couple.
And Mel's just like, yeah, okay. Mel's like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
He's cool. He's like, yeah, coach. Yeah, I understand. And then he goes into his pitch. I think it would have been a great thing to see two Army people or armed forces people on two different sides of the spectrum sitting down having a conversation. I think it'd be dope. Hopefully he can get it together because he's the only example. Or we could find somebody that can actually be open to those things.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, Coach, we are over time again this week, but that's good because we had a great conversation. Everybody out in the chat, we love y'all. Coach, you got anything else you got to say?
Icky Vicky.
Iffy on. Then she get a stiffy on. All right, guys. Well, we are out of here. Y'all my bros for life, man. Laughing my butt off. We love you too, Mel. We love you too. Anybody out there that's still watching, hey, anybody that commented in the chat, we love y'all. Shout out to, oh boy, I'm going to remember everybody here. Shout out Todd. Shout out Renee. Shout out to Sarah. Isaac. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. But thank you all who came out and chatted with us today. We love y'all. If you haven't already and you would like to share the video, because this will be replayed here soon, people can watch it, go ahead and share the video out there. Leave us a comment, leave us some love, some feedback. Leave us one of those heart react emojis. We love heart reacts, care reacts, you know? We're all about the love over here. Oh, Jamie, I forgot about Jamie. Sorry, Jamie. Thanks, Jamie. She said, awesome show, loved it. Thanks, Jamie, we love you. All right, we're out of here. Stay beautiful, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you later. Have a good night.